Many people say, and it's on the major news, that data is the new oil of the economy. But I think that doesn't really factor in a very important economic characteristic, and that's the non-rivalry of the use. So many people can use the same data at the same time. Anyone who has ever copied a music file knows that. It's very simple. So it's about allowing the widest possible use for as many people as possible. And that makes it an infrastructural resource. And many people recognize this nowadays, that it's not oil which burns or at best transforms into plastic and can be recycled, but that it's really something that supports the way we produce, we live, we cure people, and that it should be everywhere. And it's to some extent also a public utility that the government should provide for us. Well, it's that we are entering probably in a new phase of open data. In the past years, we basically had a lot of experimentation. Holders of data would just bring out whatever they could with the least cost, the most easiest they just had at hand. But it was not very strategic. And at least since the G8 Open Data Charter from 2013, if I remember correctly, we had identified priority areas where at least everyone should agree that these data, making these data available openly, is very important. So these were categories. This was not specific data sets defined, but categories of data that should be opened up. And with the proposal to revise the relevant European directive, which is the Public Sector Information Directive, we're now trying to get this into binding law in Europe, not just an agreement that Chancellor Merkel signed, that all the G8 head of state at the time signed, but then was left to no implementation process whatsoever. Now we want to get to a process where the member states agree that certain data should be available for free at a high quality level, and examples would be mapping information, weather information. These are the classical examples, but then there is more. Legislative information is one of them. In the end, there will be a second process after the adoption of this new directive where the member states will define this list. So the examples I give are ideas or typical examples, what the French would call reference data, because they have such a high value in the economy that they are already provided by the public and not by private, or only partially by private enterprise. And they have a really connecting factor in the economy, such as geolocalization data.